All right. Just getting my getting my creative studio going on here with my fancy tripods, my bar stools, and my lighting and my everything. Just good. Hi guys. Good morning. All right, now we have to get on my Facebook. Go live. All right. Oh yeah. So maybe someday I'll be able to have some sort of crazy weird glare there. Figure out what that is. Crazy studio and be all fancy. And until then, this is what you get. I'm gonna shut the door because someone behind me is mowing their lawn. But is it gorgeous outside? If you guys are in Florida right now, it's amazing, isn't it? For May. Actually have the windows open, but like I said, I gotta make that stop. All right. So we'll see how many visitors we get. Hey, Keiko, come on. Come on. Go outside with Daddy. Come on. Go. All right, so how does it look? How does it sound? Give me a thumbs up or a waving in despair because you can't hear me. Hi, Liz. Cool. All right, great. Ah! What just happened? Over a little bit. I was crooked and tried to fix crooked and made it worse. Okay. Oh, this is not good. My fancy tripod is failing me. Oh, you guys. The cat's getting ready. Okay, sound and picture are good if I'll stop moving it, right? So I might have to be a little bit crooked because I don't want to screw it up anymore. We're good? Barbara, yay, you got on here. All right, so of course he has to groom himself. So today we're going to be working on our core. All right, so make sure you stay engaged through the middle because when we're not working the front and sides, the back, let me get over here so you guys can all see me. The back does everything. And if you've ever had low back pain, you know you don't need to help that happen, right? You don't need to intentionally do it for sure. So make sure we stay engaged through the middle so that we protect the lower back, and we are absolutely going to be using it and working it because we want the back to be strong, of course, right? We just don't want it to be doing everything. So that's where we're going to go. Remember that you can make things more challenging or less challenging. So if, say, we're working the side body in particular, with taking an arm and adding the weight of the arm makes it more work. This is still work, right? You're just taking the extra body weight out of it. So remember that. I will cue things. There'll always be options. Remember to take a break if you want to take a break at any point. Just quick, I mentioned last week that I'm going to be doing an inversion workshop. I decided that I'm definitely going to do it. I kind of put it around in my head. I have an idea of how I want to do it. If I do not already have your email address, and you're interested, of course, if you're like, oh, upside down, she's crazy, then definitely make sure I have your email address, because I'm going to put out the email and it'll be a little bit more personal, because I don't want to teach inversions if I can't see what's happening with you. So it's going to be a little bit different feel. It will be a special thing that I'm going to put out there. So if you're interested, make sure I have your email address. I think that's all the business. I mean, we're status quo until something happens. I don't know what might happen, but here we are. So let's go ahead and get on the mat. It's time, right? Yes, it's definitely time. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat on your mat. And align your heels to the groin. Color again, if you can't see me, I'm going to check, not see or hear me. I am going to check in periodically to make sure it's all good. So bear with me. Aligning the heels, taking your inner thigh rotation, of course, so that we can be upright on the pelvis. So we talk about this all of the time, but really staying focused on this middle today. Lift your pelvic floor away from the floor. Pull the lower belly in and up like the ice cream scoop. You feel it already, right? And then engage along the sides so that you're extra tall. See if you can release into your inner hip. Relax your shoulders down and extend out the crown of your head so that you should already feel some action around the middle, right? We want to keep that. Go ahead and close your eyes and take just a moment and check in with your body. See what's going on. Notice the things that feel good. It's very easy to notice the aches and pains, or where we're stiff, or where we overdid last week, or hopefully not that long ago, but you get the idea. Noticing just in general how your body feels, not just always the bad stuff. And then begin to notice your breath. And try not to do anything with it just yet. See what just naturally occurs. Breathing all through the nose, allow your breath to begin to expand. As the breath begins to get bigger, notice what happens in the belly. Is it harder to hold the core as you inhale or exhale? Coming to that just beyond comfortable breath. Staying connected in the core here. Let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides. With the next inhale, we're going to reach them up. And on the exhale, bring it back down again. Let's go again. One more time. And then come back to the top, inhale. Exhaling your right hand back to the mat, give yourself a little tip over to that right side. Stay rooted on the pelvis, strong in through the side, and notice how even as we're trying to stretch, we still need to stay engaged. Remember, this left arm can be involved or not, right? And then come on back up to center, inhale. Take it over to the left, same idea here. Rooted on the seat. See about maybe drawing the right shoulder back so you can open in through the chest even a little bit. And I'm going to take another inhale and bring ourselves back up to the center. Let's go one more time. So take it over to the right. See if you can find a little bit deeper stretch, still maintaining everything else that we've had here. And then on the inhale, make your way back up. Take it over to the left. Take one more breath, see if you can open up the right shoulder. And then come on back up to center. Inhaling, release the arms. So let's keep this really tall spine engaged, bringing the left hand over to the right knee, right hand just back behind the body a little bit. Gentle, easy twist. We'll come back through the middle. Let's take it to the second side. Same idea, just nice and easy to begin here. Take your time. And then back to center again. Let's go back to that first side and work a little bit deeper into this one. So sitting as tall as you can, rotate your belly button toward the right. Think rotating your side ribs toward the back of your mat. Drive the shoulder back. You can look over your shoulder. Still sitting really tall, engaged through the belly, relaxing into your hips, your shoulders. And then we'll come back to the middle and take the second side. Rotating around as evenly as you can through the spine. And then releasing that back to the middle again. So from here, let's come around onto hands and knees. Remember, you can cushion your knees, you can cushion your hands if you'd like. Wherever you're going to be, make sure your knees are up underneath your hips and your wrists are up underneath your shoulders. Let your fingers spread nice and wide. And make sure that the body weight feels even on the hands. Right? Not to rock into the wrist. So then just some cat cows, right? Cat. Inhaling the belly low toward the floor. And then exhaling and rounding the spine toward the ceiling. Follow your breath in and out of those two. Let's take one more breath like that. Get in there as deep and even as you can. And then find a center again. So a nice neutral spine, make sure your belly's still working, not really pulling away from the floor so much anymore, but still engaged. Make sure the shoulders stay neutral on your back as well. We're going to extend the right leg straight back. So heel in line with the hip. Flex the foot, check in that the toes point toward the floor so you know you've got that alignment there. And then let's extend the left arm forward. And we're going to reach away from the body. Big full breaths here, belly's working at least as hard as your back, right? And then release that back down. So let's go same idea, second side. Left leg back, press through the heel, flex the foot. In your head, you're standing on this left leg. And then right arm reaching forward. Nice straight line from the fingertips all the way through that heel. Breathe. Awesome, awesome. And then release back to the mat. We're gonna add on with this. So go ahead and extend the right leg straight back again. Heel in line with the hip, left arm stretching forward. We're gonna connect with the breath here. So on an exhale, draw your elbow and knee together underneath the body. And then inhale, reach away again. This time exhale the leg over to the right, the arm over onto the left. And then inhale, come back to center. So you're gonna go like that, exhaling elbow to knee. Inhale away, exhale out, back to center. Remember the levers can be shorter, so the arm and the leg maybe not straight. Out to the sides is less work, yeah? So let's take one more flow like that. Smooth and controlled as you can. When you're back to center, just release the hand and knee back to the mat. And let's go second side. So left leg, right arm. Reach away from the body, really engaged here. And then when you're ready, follow your breath. Elbow and knee, squeeze in, reach away. Out to the sides, and then back to the middle. Controlled. You decide how much work to make this. Make sure you're breathing, your belly's working. Let's go one more. When you're back to center, just release the hand and knee again. You have one more here on the hands and knees. So extend your right leg and left arm one more time. Bend the knee this time. Take the left fingertips, reach around for your foot. Point the knee down at the floor. You can press the foot into the hand, get a little stretch in your shoulder. Maybe lift your toes a little higher for a bigger quad and hip flexor stretch. Belly's in, big full breaths. And then we're gonna release that, stretch it long. Come on back down again. Working the second side, same idea, left leg and right arm. When you're ready, bend at the knee and find your foot. And then you add on what you add on. Let's release that, stretching long. Come on back down, all fours. And then nice and easy here, hips back to heels. Allow yourself to move into child's pose. And for a moment here, just really release everything. So let your belly go. Let your body kind of sink between the legs. Take another nice big breath. And then re-engage your belly. Let's lift into our first down dog. Let your legs stretch, let your hips and glutes stretch, wiggle around, bicycle your heels, anything that feels good. Breathe. And then settle in. So feet are hip bone distance apart. We want to press the chest back to the thighs. Nice and engaged in the hands still. Head hanging between the arms. Here, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right wrist. And if it doesn't quite make it, don't panic. Okay? Let your hips come forward, maybe roll around a little bit here. Make sure your belly's still pulled in, step back, down dog. And then switch sides, step the left foot to the outside of the wrist. And wiggle around. Come on back to down dog. And then we're gonna do it again on each side. So if your foot didn't quite make it up to your hand, or you felt like you were using a ton of momentum to get there, see if you can engage more through your belly and be more intentional about it. And maybe it still lands hard, maybe it still doesn't quite land where you want it to, but go ahead and step that right foot to the outside of the wrist again. Was it any better? Maybe yes, maybe no. Step back, down dog. And then do the same thing on your left. Step back to your down dog. This time here, let's go ahead and step the right foot through the middle of the hands here, or kind of in the middle. So the foot is between the hands, toes all the way up to your fingers, yeah? Let's go ahead and drop the back knee. And we're going to take the right leg straight. So find a hamstring stretch here. Relax your shoulders, make sure your belly's pulled in. And then bend the knee. You can absolutely leave that left knee on the floor, or you can take it away from the floor, full lunge, pressing through the back heel, maybe dropping a little deeper into your hips here. And then take the right leg straight again, finding a little bit deeper stretch. Remember, the left knee can always drop back onto the floor. So bend back into the knee. You've already got the option of the left knee on the floor. You can simply take your hands and climb them up to the thigh, but maybe we add in a little bit of body weight. So the arms maybe down by your sides, into the hips and waist here. You can stretch them out to the sides, off the shoulders. You can stretch them forward. Make sure your belly's pulled in. Your spine is in a neutral position for sure. Hands can be on the thigh to support if that's where you need to be. We're gonna lift the upper body. Come more vertical with it. And then let's come on back down again, and we'll make our way back to down dog. So give yourself a little wiggle, take a child's pose if you feel like you need that. And then we're gonna switch sides, so let's bring the left foot forward. Take your time, make sure your toes make it all the way to the top of your mat. Go ahead and drop the right knee to begin anyway. And then take the left leg straight. So the same thing on this side, just finding your hamstring stretch. Making sure the back stays neutral. We don't want to just round the back just to stretch the hamstring. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. And then bend. Let your hips come forward. Keeping the right knee on the mat option if that's you. Otherwise, lift it away and take the left leg straight again. So finding that deeper stretch if you're ready for that. I meant to bring blocks in today and I completely forgot. But you can always prop up on a block, or you're at home, you have a million things you could use to make it, right? You can always use your shin if nothing else. So we're gonna bend back into the knee. Decide if you want the right knee on the mat here, if you need it, climbing up to the thigh if you need that support. Otherwise, you maybe just take away the hands on the floor. Take them out to the sides, add them forward. Find what is enough for your body. Belly's in for sure anyway. We're gonna lift the upper body. And then bring it back down again. Step back, down dog. And just let yourself wiggle and stretch a little bit here. If you need to drop down and take a break, you drop down and take a break. So then we're going to move from our down dog into plank. So simply shifting forward, bringing the shoulders up over the wrists again. Legs are straight or the knees are on the floor. Either one is totally fine. Make sure your belly's pulled in. Shoulders are neutral on the back. Head is in line with the spine. We like to drop the head here for some reason, but that just makes it sad. So breathing. And then back to your down dog. Let's do that one more time. Shift forward, simply hold. You don't have to do anything fancy with your plank here. Knees on the mat if you want. Tall spine, strong legs, strong belly. And then back to your down dog. So let's all go ahead and drop down to the knees. Take a child's pose, even if you hadn't before. And if you'd like here, allow the hands to come back by the heels. Let your shoulders roll forward. Take a little break. Just like before, allow your belly to release and see if maybe you can drop into your hips a little deeper, maybe your belly between your legs a little bit more. And then we'll take those arms and stretch forward. Move yourself back into down dog again. This time here, we'll walk the feet forward and come to standing fold. So take your time, feet up to the fingertips, hip bone distance apart, toes pointing forward, four corners of the feet, just like we did with four corners of the hands, right? So let's begin by simply taking the legs straight. If you are a hyperextender, you can go too straight, so it might actually feel a little bit bent. Okay? So if you tend to lock your knees, don't lock your knees. We'll slide the hands up to the thighs, and we're going to bring the upper body parallel to the floor. And that might be as deep as you can come, but we're calling this half fold anyway. Lean with your hands on your thighs if that's where you need to be. Make sure your belly's pulled in. Shoulders are back. Nice neutral spine. And if you need your hands, you leave your hands. If you just want to take them out of leaning, the arms can go down by your sides again. Hug your forearms into your hips and waist. If you want to add more body weight, you take the arms out to the sides. Hands right in line with the shoulders. Take a peek and see where they landed. They like to do this up and back thing. I don't know why, but they do. And if that's not enough, you can take the arms and stretch forward. Fingertips, head, shoulders, and hips in that straight line. A lot of times it's easier to lean the hips back, but that's cheating. Change your arms if you feel like you need to. They can be wherever. Bend your knees, sit back into a chair. So feet, knees, hips in the same plane. Sometimes they'll move around a little bit. Tuck the tailbone, lift the chest. Again, the hands are wherever you want them to be. It adds or takes away. Take another nice deep breath here. And then inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And release the arms. All right. So from here, go ahead and take a nice big step back with your right foot. And then we're going to turn the toes out to the corners just a little bit. Nothing crazy. You don't want to be like sideways. Right? Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to stand up. When you bend your knees, You want to make sure the knees line up with the toes, right? So you can see your toes beyond your knees and they're all pointing in the same direction. Right? Sometimes the knees will fall in. That means you need to turn your toes in or bring your feet closer together. Right? So keep that in mind. And then take the legs straight once you have that. Bellies in, tailbones down. Extend the arms. On an exhale, bend your elbows and knees. Keep your torso up right here, elbows wide. And then inhale, stretch back to the ceiling. So you're just going to move in and out like that. And if it feels boring, right, imagine your weights in your hands, right? To work isometrically, pulling down and then pushing back up. In and out like that. Checking in that your belly's still engaged. And really try to work as evenly as you can. One side will do everything. See if you can make it nice and smooth and even. So the next time we squat, we're going to hold. Check in that your knees are still doing what you think they are. Belly's pulled in. So the elbows bent if that's you, or maybe extend. Okay? So they get heavier as the arms get further away from the body, right? You can stay upright with the torso, or you can come forward, bringing your head, shoulders, fingers in line with your hips and knees-ish. And then hinge it back up again. Take your arms in or out. Stretch to the ceiling. And then release it all. So let's go ahead and step back to the top of the mat. We're going to work with triangle next. So we want to be feeling primarily the sides of the body, certainly not the back. So let's take that big step back with the right foot again. Check out your toes this time. The left toes point forward. Right toes are going to be cut in a little bit. This left heel is in line with your right instep. You guys seen those fancy mats with all the lines and stuff on them? I don't know if that's worth it or not, but forward, you're going to be using your back. Okay? So as much as possible, and I know when you're tight, this may or may not be quite as open, right? But the idea is as much as possible. So tailbone's tucked under, belly's pulled in here. We're just standing tall. Shoulders are going to stay in line with the hips and the ankles. Stretch the arms out. Reach forward over your left toes as far as you can. When you can't reach forward any further, just let your left arm fall. Lift your right arm up toward the ceiling. So kind of, your right hand, your right shoulder are stacked over your left shoulder and your left hand, your left hip and your left ankle, yeah? You can be leaning like crazy on this leg. Make sure your belly's working. If you don't really need to lean, just let the arm diagonal. So that's adding a little bit of body weight, right? You may be able to use a little bit more. Extend your left arm toward the top of your mat or the front of the room or however your brain sees that. Take your right arm and maybe bring it over as well. So the shoulders are still stacked. Remember, if your butt starts sticking out and your hips starts rotating forward, you're using your back. Use your sides. And remember, if that's too much, you come back to center. Take a big breath. And inhale, stretch up. Release your arms and step back to the top of your mat. So if you've done a million triangles and you're like, snooze, boring, right? Add those little pieces and it becomes less boring, for sure. So let's go same exact thing on the second side. Step back with your left foot. Check in with your toes and make sure they're doing what you think they're doing. And that's where it all starts, yeah? So tucking the tailbone under, opening the hips as much as possible to the long edge of this mat. Shoulders in line with the hips and ankles. Stretch the arms, reaching forward. Find space in your side here. And then let your right hand fall on your left hand lift. Again, looking to be stacked as much as you possibly can, even in your feet. And then you add what you need to add. So maybe you're leaning, maybe the arm is just simply dangling. If you want to stretch it forward, and maybe left arm reaching over the top as well. So again, make sure you're breathing, make sure your belly's pulled in. We'll take one more breath. And then again, adjusting your arms, right? If it's too much, you change it. Inhale, come up. And we step back to the top of the mat. Right? So again, always your option, and you're at home, nobody can see you. So if you take a break in the middle of something, no one knows. No one but you. So same idea, only we're gonna work forward and that idea, forward and back really, right? So to use those longer levers, like I was talking about earlier, the arms are fully extended. Makes it more challenging. If that's too much, maybe hands at center, you can definitely have them down your sides, or you can even lean on the leg, and that'll make more sense as we move into that warrior three. So if you know what I'm talking about, you get the picture in your head. So choose where your arms want to start, and you can always change your mind. Shift the weight over to your left, and slide your right foot back just enough so that it'll be able to lift up off the floor. But otherwise, everything else is exactly as it was when we were standing up. So hips over ankles, they're even and square to the top of your mat. The hands maybe at the hips, center extended out, whatever you feel like doing today. Shoulders in line, relaxed away from your ears. So from the fingertips through the right heel, mostly, we're in a straight line, yeah? Keep that. And begin to hinge your upper body forward as you lift your right leg behind. So if you get to a point where something starts to give, right? Maybe the left knee bends, maybe your right hip opens, maybe your back rounds, stop, right? And hold there until you can maintain that position. And then maybe you can continue to come forward and bring the upper body, fingers and heel parallel to the floor. Probably somewhere in between those, right? Listen to your body. Can you breathe there? Is your belly working? Inhale, hinging up. And then release all of that. And we'll do the exact same thing on the second side. So, all the way to the right. Belly in. Slide that left foot back just that little smidge of a bit. And then decide where you want your arms. So remember, keeping your body in this line, this long line, is more important than where your arms are or how deep you come over, right? So when you're ready, hinging forward, lifting the left leg behind. Take it slow, kind of check in as your body moves. Adjusting, moving in, moving out, breathing. Take one more big breath. And then hinging back up. And release your hands. All right. So let's inhale, stretch to the ceiling. Exhale, bring yourself over into a fold. And then allow yourself to hang here for a moment. So maybe a little bend in your knees. You can grab opposite elbow. You can maybe walk in place a little bit. Be really ragdollish and just relax here for a moment. Let's go ahead and release that, bringing the hands to the floor. We'll step back into down dog. So from our down dog, again, making sure that the belly's still engaged, right? Here, we're gonna step the right foot halfway-ish to the hands. Let the toes turn out to the right and bring that foot flat to the floor. Bring your right hand to your hip, roll to the outside edge of your left foot. Keep the left foot flexed, and the body should be as if you were standing up with this right leg doing something weird, right? So your right hand can stay at your hip, it can extend up toward the ceiling, making sure the knee is open, your belly is pulled in to support all of this, and your left hand is happy, of course, right? Release that. Step back to down dog. And then work the second side. So the left foot roughly halfway up, and you can always adjust it if it's too high or too low, right? Rolling to the outside edge of your right foot, left hand to your hip or to the ceiling, wherever. Shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked roughly. This right ankle is strong, your right hand is strong, you're breathing. And then we're going to release that back into our down dog again. So go ahead and drop on down to your knees, sit back in your child's pose, and take a moment to really kind of assess where you felt that most, right? So maybe you were feeling your wrist. Maybe you were feeling your hip because it was really open. Maybe you feel like your hips were too high, right? If we don't place that right foot or the foot that's stepping up in the right place, everything else can be a little bit messy, right? But the more we engage in through the middle, the less work it is for this poor little arm, right? Or wherever else. So we're gonna really, really focus there. And we're gonna hold them a little bit longer. So if you need a little break in the middle, take a little break for sure. Okay? So let's work our way back to a down dog. And I usually do this in class, I kind of wasn't thinking about it. Bring yourself forward into a plank. And we're not gonna hold it, we just need to make sure that the hands and feet are far enough apart, right? And then lift your hips back to down dog. So step your right foot into that kind of halfway place again. Turn out the toes, roll to the outside of your left foot, and your right hand to your hip or to the ceiling. Again, that's so inconsequential, it doesn't matter. Belly's pulled in. How much are you leaning on this right foot? If your butt's sticking up, you're gonna be leaning a lot, right? The more you tuck it under, the more the shoulders lean back, the less you have to lean. And if you don't really have to lean, don't. Can you pick it up? Even if it's for a millisecond. Move back to down dog. Ready for the second side? Ready or not, bring the left foot halfway up. Turn the toes out, roll to the outside edge of your right foot, left hand to the hip or to the ceiling. How much are you leaning into this left leg? And maybe just leaning less is as good as it's gonna get, and that's still great. If you don't need to lean at all, you can pick the foot up, hold it out, up and down a million times, breathe, and then release, back to down dog. So dropping down to the knees, sit back in a child's pose again. And take a little break because there's one more thing we get to play with. And if you're just still working on getting into the proper position, then that's where your work is, right? If you want to add one little thing or not the other, one side is a little stronger than the other typically, so maybe that's where you're working. So remember, you don't always have to do every single little thing. So let's go ahead and lift back to our down dog. Take that quick shift forward into plank, just in case you got a little short there, and then back to down dog. We're gonna set the right foot halfway up, turn the toes out, roll to the outside of the left foot, the right hand to the hip or to the ceiling, the belly's in, the shoulders are back. You're leaning as much as you need to lean into this right foot. If you're not really leaning, use control, use your belly, pick the right foot up, and gently step it back behind the body. And then bring it forward again. Step it back. And forward. One more time. When it's forward again, make your way back to down dog. Side B. Left foot halfway up. Toes point out, we roll to the outside of your right foot. Belly's pulled in, shoulders are stacking, hips are stacking, you're breathing, your belly's working. Yes, yes. Most importantly, maybe you just lean less into the left foot. Maybe you can pick it up for a half a second. Maybe you pick it up and step it back. Ooh. And forward, back, and forward. One more time. Back to down dog. Drop on down to the knees and sit back in child's pose, maybe with the hands back by the heels. Let your body sink. Let your belly rest. Take one more breath here. And then hinge it up, sitting up on the heels for a moment. Bring the legs around front. So legs extended out long. Inner thigh rotation, just like we did at the very beginning of class. Belly still pulled in. Spine is tall. And of course, then the arms, right? As much or as little as you want. The body is going to be in this straight line. Right? Neutral spine here. Maybe the hands stay back. They can maybe rest on your thighs here if you need them to. They can move out to the side, certainly, or maybe stretch up. Right? So this long line, the fingertips count as well. We're going to hinge forward from the hip. When you are no longer the straight line, you stop and find the straight line again. Right? So you won't be touching your toes unless you're laying your face on your shins. And we haven't worked hamstrings, so that's probably not happening, right? Shoulders back. And again, if it becomes too much, you change where the hands are. Let's take one more big breath. And then inhale, hinge back up again. Again, change your arms if you feel like you need that. Release them. Take the feet flat. Hang on to your hamstrings. Tuck your chin and roll on down to your back. Let the knees hug to the chest and then just rock a little bit side to side, massaging your back against the mat. So then let's bring the knees up over the hips. So they're roughly the distance of your arm away from your body, up from your torso. Ish. And then about a 90-degree bend in the knee, so the shins are parallel-ish to the floor. So the hands for now can be wherever you want them to be. We're going to keep this 90-degree bend in the knee here. With an exhale, take your left heel toward the floor, maybe barely touch. And then inhale and bring it back up to the middle again. Switch to the right side, keeping the bend in the knee, the belly's in, and back to the middle. So you're just going to move side to side like that. Nothing else changes except the hip. So if you feel like your knee is bending, if you feel in your lower back here, the leg might be going a little straight. Really targeting below the belly button. Let's go one more time on each side. So making sure that you're even left and right. When you're back to center, just hold your knees into your chest and maybe even rock a little bit. Because even just holding the legs out there at some point gets a little challenging. So we're going to go again and we're going to add in the arms, right? The legs are going to do exactly what they were doing. So bring your knees over your hips, bellies in, shins are parallel to the floor. The arms are going to extend up toward the ceiling, shoulders rest down on the floor. I want you to lift your shoulders for this. So the belly's working, we're going to work across the body this time. So on the exhale, your left heel moves toward the floor, your right thumb is coming to the floor overhead, and then we're coming back to center. Connect to the breath. Exhaling the right heel and the left thumb. Inhaling back to center. So you're moving smooth and controlled. Connected to the breath. Making your brain work as hard as your body is for a moment. We're going to go one more set. So we're even right and left or left and right, however you want to see that. Feel your belly. When you're back to center, just hug the knees in. And again, just let yourself rock a little bit here. We'll take the feet flat to the floor. And then allow the soles of the feet to come together. Rest your knees open to the sides. Try and release your belly. If you'd like, you can take your hands to the tops of your thighs. Press your thighs away from your upper body. Get that little extra stretch there. And then we'll bring the knees back together. Just to stretch the belly in the opposite direction for a moment. Don't worry about lifting high. Don't think about your biggest back bend you've ever had in your life. Don't worry about that, any of that. So the feet roughly hip bone distance apart. I know it's hard to see. Okay. Pretty close to your hips. Arms in tight to the sides of your body. And you can have your elbows bent. I can dig my arms in a little closer with my elbows bent. Pressing down into your triceps, tuck your tailbone toward your knees, pull your heels toward your hips, and gently lift your hips up off the floor. Try and keep the head nice and neutral. The body weight does not press into the head. You can take your hands wherever you want your hands. So if you want to interlace and get a little extra there, you're welcome. Just keep your lower back long. And again, just stretching out your lower belly, your hip flexors here. They were working pretty hard a minute ago. Take another big breath. And then release that back down. So we're going to open the arms out into a T position. And remember, you can get as fancy as you want to here. So if you'd like, just simply drop your knees over to the right. Otherwise, take your hips over to the left and then drop your knees over to the right. You could cross your legs here if you wanted. You could extend your legs if that's you, maybe looking over the left hand. Working more or less. Remember, this last twist is always yours to give your body what it needs. Some days it's just a complete release, and some days it's a little bit more work. We're going to take one more breath here. And then gently make your way back up to your center, undoing whatever you did on the way down. And we'll work the second side, same thing. So if you just dropped your knees, just drop your knees over here. If you shifted your hips or did any other fancy stuff on the other side, try and do it on this side as well. Trying to encourage the body to be even. Take a nice big breath. And then gently make your way back to center again. Once you're there, bring the knees into the chest and rock. Squeeze the knees into the chest as tight as you can get. Bring your forehead to your knees, round up through your spine, give yourself a big hug for all the work you did. And then releasing that out into a full stretch, fingertips to toes. Use every muscle here for one last little moment. And then release that. Let your arms come back down by your sides. Take a moment to adjust the body. So if you feel a little crooked, or if you prefer a seated meditation position, maybe you want to sit up against a wall. Maybe you want legs up the wall. Make your body comfortable, whatever that's going to look like for you. Once you've found that place, release into it. Melting the weight of the body into the mat and allowing your awareness to move back solely to your breath. And instead of controlling it anymore, just allow it to do what it does. See if you can keep your mind on your breath. And give yourself just a few minutes to simply rest here. Gently begin to draw the breath a little bit deeper. Restoring small movements to the body first. Begin to wiggle and stretch. are still reclined. Bring your feet flat to the floor. Slowly roll yourself to the side. Keep your eyes closed and the mind quiet. As you gently bring yourself back up to seated again. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks so much for playing today, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed that. I hope you feel that when you roll over out of bed tomorrow morning. Remember, I'll be here again next Saturday unless something radical happens. If you're interested in that headstand or inversion workshop that I'm going to do, make sure I have your email. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks again.